Hey everybody, back in the shop. Friday night. It's got up to 80 degrees today. It's 1st of March, so just doing a little bit of work in here. Trying to get started on the wiring. So I'm just doing a little exploratory things tonight. But here's what I got. I've got the rear tail lights out and trying to get to the rear backup lights as well. Couldn't find complete replacements on everything online, just bits and pieces, but I want to show you what I've come up with. Okay, so this is the socket for the passenger side tail light. You got two wires going to it. I couldn't find new sockets online. Maybe I'm not looking in the right place. So what I'm going to do, since these two wires here, this part here is kind of in really decent condition. So I'm going to cut them probably right here where the tape is, or a little further back. Give me a good pigtail on it. Now I bought this kit online. I found it on Amazon, and it's automotive style plugs. So you crimp the two pins here. You've got a little watertight protector here, and you got the male end and the female end. It comes with some simple instructions that the grammar is off on it, but it looks like those will work. So I will put those ends on this here and on that one, and then when I run the new wiring harness, I'll put the other end on it on the wiring harness there. That way, if I ever have a problem with one of these, then I can just swap them out pretty easy. I think I'll probably buy a second kit for this, because I might use some of these up front. But back here, all I've got is the turn signal lights, stop lights, the backup lights. This is kind of really in there. I think this separates, but it's stuck on there right now. I need to spray some PB Blaster or something on it. I haven't tried to get this one off yet, and then I hadn't pulled this out yet, because you got one wire going there. The single wire that ran underneath the carpet goes to the driver's side light. So I'm still not sure what's going on with that. But these are 6-volt bulbs. They're the kind that has the offset on the little knobs on the side of it. So I'll just take one to the auto store and find a 12-volt one that's compatible with it. And then once I plug it in, then I'll have to find out which is the bright side, which is the dim side on it, since you've got dual elements in it. Here's a little tip for you. I had a difficult time trying to get just the bulb out. You push in and twist it. It didn't want to do that. But this plastic plug here does the same thing. It twists out. So I grabbed a pair of pliers and then took this out. And once I got this out, it relieved pressure on the bulb, and the bulb was able to come out. But now, let's see if I can get it here. Yeah, now I can get the bulb out easy. It just broke that tension of being in there for 57 years. So you can see in there. But when you put the bulb back in, you have to make sure you get it lined up correctly, because you can see those little knobs on the side, the ones that are offset. So I've got that going on. And then once I get all this, and I vacuumed out in here tonight as well. Once I get the lamp sockets, get a connector on all the lamp sockets, I can start running the cable back here. I'll show you right here. That's where the fuel sensor goes into. It goes down there. So this new wiring kit comes with an extra wire for a fuel pump, an electric fuel pump. So I will probably run that wire as well. And on that, since this is a single barrel carburetor, I'll probably run a similar pump to what we run on the Corvairs, real low pressure, 5 to 8 pounds. Nothing, you don't need anything really great on it. Here's how the wires are put in. You've got, you got little pieces of metal here that fold over. So be careful when you bend that back. There's one right here. I think that's for the cardboard that goes around. So I took the cardboard piece out here and set that aside. It's in okay condition, but I can probably get some new on that. Didn't take the tire out to vacuum underneath there yet. So the plan this weekend, and I'm gonna cut this video up. It's gonna be a long video, but over the weekend, I'll get this pulled out here and also run some wire for the doors, the little pins for the doors for the overhead light. So, and I'll get that. Let's see, I didn't see this right here before. I can get some glue and put that back up. Yeah, that's the original color right there. No rust on it or anything else. The latch looks in good condition there. So let me turn around here. So there you have it. Stay with me on this video. Thanks for watching. I want to thank everybody that subscribed lately, because I'm above 100 subscribers now. Just keep telling your friends about it. Let's continue on with the video. All right, had to do another clip on something that I just found out with this. So the backup lights are a dealer installed option on this car. So it had an extra wire ran underneath the car. It came up through this grommet right here, and as I was tracing it out, it went to this junction here. And all this junction is, it's where you have this kind of connector, and you plug it in to there, if I can get it in the light, and you could put up to 4 wires together on this. It only had 3 because you got the one coming from the front and then the 2 of them going out back. But I thought that was really interesting that that's how they did that. So I'll probably save this and keep this connection, this type of connection on the car, since it was original to the car, and I can just do that with the, because I got one wire coming for the backup lights, and I'll keep this on there. But I've got both of these out. You can see how they're rusted on the back side there. I got the screws out on the front, but they won't separate. So I'm gonna set them somewhere, one of the little pots I got, spray some PB Blaster on it, let them soak for a while, and see if that frees them up. I got this cover off here, so you got a little gasket there. I probably need to go underneath the car to see how that bulb is wired up. I don't know if that one will come out. Yep, that one comes out fairly easy. I think I've got one of these bulbs. So nope, the ones I got, they're doubles. So, and that another thing on here, on these, they've been sitting for so long, I probably will need to touch this up with a little more solder, build this back up again, so it'll make a good connection. So when I cut these to put, and you see these have already had a splice on them already. So these have already, something's already been done here. And this is the one that has the wire that goes somewhere else. So I'll just put the connector where this splice is, eliminate one other failure contact. And then when I do that and I have it out of the car, I'll just touch that up with a little, just a little bit of solder, not much. You wouldn't want to melt the plastic on there. So I wanted to share that little tidbit with you. All right, I want to show you another connector here. So this was one of the wires for the running lamps, or the back lights, the tail lights. So you got a thicker gauge wire here, and they have a crimp with some solder on it. That was wrapped with some just some black tape, the cloth tape, and then this goes to another plug here. Now that went to, so I'll show you the light here. That went to that light right there. This cable here, it's looks like they got it run through a big hose for protection, and that comes up to the license plate light. So that's how they got that in through there. And underneath here, it's just it's like a thick vacuum hose, and they just ran that wire through that and into this plug here. So so this is coming from here, so you got another junction here, so they split off of there to go to the driver's side light, continued on with this wire, split off here to go to the license plate light, and then to the passenger side light. So of course, if you have your wiring diagram, will just show connections, but this is the physical layout of it, just to give you a good idea if you're going back for your restoration and you don't know how it was set up. So there you have that. All right, I'm gonna start pulling some wire, starting with the passenger side door with the door switch, and then pulling the wire back up and over. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we got this here. It's just, I took this panel out, but you didn't need to. So I might on the other side though. So this is just 2 Phillips head screws. And I took this out the other day and had a small piece of paper behind it that went between this and the door. So so it's just got a little connector on there. Get that out. Okay, so there's the switch and there's the connector. So I'm gonna attach a new ground wire to that and then pull it through, and then that way I can start hooking up new wire. I mean, this wire, right now it doesn't look like anything's bad to it, but I've had issues with other cars before, and it's just best just to go ahead and just change it, and we won't have to worry about it again, especially since this wire is above the headliner. I don't want to have to fool with that while it's already up. So let me pull that through. All right, I've got it pulled up through here. I don't want to lose it there. So you got little clips here. So the new wire, I'm just gonna clip it to everything here and then bring it in up to here. And I'll make my connections on that a little later, because you've got 2 wires that go to it here, power and then a ground. So because it doesn't get the ground through this, it uses the ground on the bayonet style on the bulb here, and that's how it does it. You got the switch here that just provides ground, but the ground goes to the bulb. The bulb doesn't get the ground from the housing itself. So let me get this all clipped up here. All right, on this end I've already made my crimp. This one was in one of those covered ones, so I had to take the cover off. So, and I took my meter and I checked the switch, make sure when it closes it opens up. When the door's open and the switch is closed, well, the switch is closed, then you've got a connection to ground. So just to slide that in there. Yeah, let's see if I can do this. Trick here, and then that slides in there just like that, and I'll do it facing up here, and then I can screw that back in. I'll probably see if I can replicate that piece of paper that was back there. Maybe the other side won't fall apart, but as old as the car is, it probably will. I haven't looked for that part online, but all right, so that is in place. And I'm using 14 gauge wire, which looks a little thicker than what this is. So, but I've got up here, and these little clips, they just hold the wire in place a little bit. They don't put any pressure on the wire. So I can pull up the slack a little bit here. The ones that go across the top, the bow part, that one's got a little bit of pressure to it. You can tighten them up a little bit. So, and oh, that one's got some pressure to it too. These have a little pressure, but the ones up here, there's just no pressure to them. So I've got that there. The next thing I need to do is get my entire new wiring harness and fuse block, and then, whoops, another hole in the seat. Find a place to put it down here temporarily, and then go ahead and run all my other cables up to here. So Saturday afternoon right now, so I'll probably make a run to Harbor Freight in the morning, pick up some supplies, and then come back and then run all that, because I'll have to pull another wire here for the door latch, and then come up here, and then all the other wires to the back, the tail lights, fuel pump, fuel sending unit, breaker lights, turn signals, run all that back through these here and back to the back. So we'll get on that. And the battery's dying on this camera, so I need to charge it up as well. So that's it for Saturday, and I'll pick up this video again on Sunday afternoon. All right, everybody, I've moved over to the driver's side. So you've got, get here, the block that's right here, and it had these things in it. So these unscrew apart. There's a fuse in here, and then that screws into the terminal board here. So I'm going to take this out and find a place right around here somewhere to mount my new fuse block. I've got a real thick wire up here that goes to the light switch, and that goes to the headlamps, and then the tail lamps as well. Back up here, so this is all the wires going up to the turn signal. So, and then the turn signal is held on with a clamp, and they put small pieces of lead solder in there to kind of shore up the clamp the clamp on there. So instead of a grommet or something like that, a piece of rubber or cork, I do have some cork, so I think I can go back with cork on that. So I'm gonna take this off, take this down, take this apart to see if there's terminals in there and stuff I can attach the new wires to, and then I can wrap all the new wires down here. There's your turn signal thing, but that's inside the new terminal block, so I don't have to replicate that. So I'm going to try to avoid just indiscriminately cutting different things, because I want to be able to label something as I remove it, and do different things. So you got the push button for start here, so there's a really thick cable for that right there, and that's kind of going in and out. So I think it probably went to the, I'm gonna open the hood and see where that traces out to. But really what I want to try to do today is mount the new fuse block, and then run all the wires up the A-pillar and across the top. So let's see if I can do that. All right, so I've taken the light switch out, and I went ahead and cut the wires on that, because you had some going up, some going this way, just to clear up confusion. The wire here for the door switch, it's taped in to the other, so I'm going to pull both of these at the same time. I'm going to pull this wire, and that's my wires going to the back. It's quite a big bundle. I'm not 100% just going to go up the A-pillar or not. I'm going to give it a try. If not, then I'll have to reroute it a different direction and then split off the dome light wire. But I'm going to give it a try. Like I said, I've got it taped through, but up here, this hole up here is not very big. So, but I'm going to see what happens here. All right, it did pull through very easily. There's a lot of extra wires in here that weren't originally in there. It's like there's a wire for a third brake light, there's a wire for electric fuel pump. The original backup lights went under the vehicle because it was a dealer installed option. This is included here. So I'm going to bring them all up to here, split off my black wire for the ground for the overhead light and the overhead light wire on this as well. And then the rest of them I'll just continue on back through there and back into the trunk and coil it up. I still haven't found a place to mount the fuse block. It's got 4 standoffs and then some bolts and nuts. So once I get this run, this is the longest wire of all the whole group and stuff like that, obviously, because it goes to the back. So once I get this run, I'll have a good indication of where I need to put the fuse block, and we'll go from there. And any extra wires, I'll just roll up in the back, because I can hide them in the back. You know, third brake light, I don't know if I'm gonna put that up, third brake light on or not. Who knows? But I probably will do a electric fuel pump. So, but let me continue on with this. All right, I'm going to show you the solution I came up with for mounting the fuse block. I went on a couple forums during lunch here. So I've gone and loosened the one of the hood hinge bolts. I've taken an old front license plate, made a bracket, so it's going to hang right there, and I got 4 holes here to mount the circuit breaker on. Now the circuit breaker has labels, and this way the labels will be facing out. I'll be able to see them and do everything from that. So I got to mount the 4 screws and then the standoffs onto the bracket, and then mount the bracket up there. One other thing, when I ran my cables here, I ran them this way, and it was on the other side of this, so I had to take this down, move it over. So just word to the wise, if you start pulling the wires, pull them from this side, don't pull them from this side here, especially if you're going to do the fuse block. Now originally they ran that way and out over to there, but since the fuse block is coming right here, it's easier just to put them right here. So and I had the cloth electrical tape I put around the edges of it, so it won't cut anybody or myself. So I'll put that in, tighten up the wires back to the back, and I'll be done for the day. All right, so now I got another rat's nest down here. That's all the unused wires. So I've got everything coming up here, and it wouldn't, all the wires wouldn't fit in the clip, so I just put a few in there and then put some of the cloth electrical tape around. Put some around this corner here going up, because the original wires had some there. I guess GM probably, or Chevy, figured out that that's a place where it rubs. And then back in the back, the only issue, if you're doing it yourself, let me get in the back seat area, show you just one trouble spot. When the wires come through here and come down into here, and you can pull them through from the trunk side, and they'll like to get caught right in that little gap right there. So if you got long arms, you can, you know, your left arm here and your right arm in the trunk and kind of work it through. And then I got them all coming in here. So the fuel line, or the line for the fuel sending unit, it went behind the cardboard here. So I'll route that and the fuel pump wire down into that grommet right there. That's another one of the little plugs there. So I'll figure that out when I get to it. And then the rest of these wires, they'll just clamp into these things here, and I'll do the wiring and hooking up of all that probably in a week or so. I did find some spare light bulbs that would fit these sockets here, so I'll be able to test, and that way I'll know which ones turn signal and which one's just a running light on that. And before I head off on here, the reverse lights, backup lights, I finally got those apart. These are really kind of crusty, but look at them funky bulbs. But that one's the better of the two. I can probably sand it down. One thing I don't know about is the the rings on here. Don't know if they're going to sand up or polish out or not. I'll just have to give it a try. The bulbs, they got a little bit of discoloration to them. I'm going to look online for some tricks. If I find a trick that'll pull that out, I'll let you know. And then they had these little gaskets in here, cork gaskets that went inside there. Those aren't that hard to find online. They're fairly easy to find. So there's that cloth tape, which I don't know how many times a day I have lost my rolls of tape and spent 15 minutes or more trying to look for them. So make sure you keep up with your stuff. But that's it on the beginning process of wiring. So I've got all the wires back to the back of the car. On the front here, I'm gonna, under the hood, I'm just gonna pull all the wires out from here. Since I'm going to have an engine, within a couple months, I need to start cleaning the engine bay up and getting that ready. But I need the wires out of there to do that. So it's coming along nicely. One thing on the wiring harness, they're all coiled, the individual groups are coiled up, but there's a lot of crossover between the groups, and there's single wires that's coiled up in one group and the other end's coiled up in another group, and it doesn't pass through to the fuse block. So you gotta kind of cut some of the tie wraps off, separate them out, get them the way you want them to be, and then put them back together. Because try to do your cable management, you don't want a rat's nest when you're done. It's a rat's nest now, but not when it's done. And don't cut any wires until you're absolutely necessary. You have to do them, and you don't want to leave a lot. But that's that. I probably wire up the back, and I've got the light switch out. I'll show you that. So there's the light switch. I just cut all the wires to it. I know there's a wiring diagram online, so you got the rheostat here for your interior lights, and then to turn your dash lights and stuff like that. So, and this is a thicker gauge cable right here, so that's probably the main power coming into it right there. So you got dash lights, main power, and then other stuff here. So and I think the backup lights or the brake lights go through the turn signal switch. So, and then here's the old fuse block. But that's that. I gotta put the other door switch on for the driver's side. Maybe clean that up. That's a little sticking a little bit. I got some spray for that. But that's that. So thank you for watching. This is a really long video. I'll probably put out in a little bit different time, but I know some of y'all like the longer videos, even though I didn't show every individual process as I was doing it. Try to give you the highlights and where I found a problem and how I overcame it. So leave your comments, leave your suggestions, tell your friends about it, and thanks for watching.